Go.
What's happening, plebs? We're really out here today with my Seraph Herald deck profile.
AKA Future Cyber Angels.
Yeah, Future Cyber Angels. Pretty much, like, I got most of the cards for the Cyber Angel deck when we get it in Dragon's Legend on release. I was like, you know, I have enough to actually make a playable deck, so we'll go with that. Alright, so we start off by playing 3 million Jews, 3 Manju of the 10,000 hands. When you summon him, you obviously get either a ritual spell card or a ritual monster. Apparently, we don't play Senju because it takes 1,000 hands to get a ritual monster, but it takes 9,000 more hands to get the ritual spell. Now you play 3 Gale Jogra. Now this card seems suicidal of like a deck choice, but when you actually break it down its effects and what it does for the deck, it's actually pretty good. So I kind of view this as like Cyberstein, where you pay a bunch of light points, but then you just summon out this massive monster for pretty much free. So what he does is that you pay 3,000 light points, and then you can send 1 card from your extra deck to the graveyard. And so what you send is, and we'll just get to it right now, Herald of the Arclight. And when Herald of the Arclight is sent to the graveyard, no matter how it got there, so even if it was discarded by like this, you can add 1 ritual spell or 1 ritual monster from your deck to your hand. And this is not once per turn, so you can do this like twice, and then you send like 2 of these, and then you get a ritual spell and a ritual monster. So this card's actually very powerful. Like it's usually like a +2 when you resolve its effect. And it comes off of another card we have here called Archer Christia. So with this card, you pay 6,000 light points. You send 2 Herald of the Arclights from your deck to the graveyard, and then you search out. I guess to skip ahead to the deck profile, you search out this Herald of Ultimateness, and you search out Advanced Ritual Art. So then you do Advanced Ritual Art, and then you send 2 fairy dragons, no, two fairies from your deck to graveyard. So you send to pay for Advanced Ritual Art. So you send 2 normal monsters. So these are good because they're both level 6. So you just send 2 of them, and you get 12. And you summon Herald of Ultimateness, and then by that point, you'll have 4 fairy monsters in your graveyard. So at that point, you just summon Archer Christia. So then you end, and then Archer Christia's effect activated, and you add this to your hand. So you end with a field of Archer Christia, Herald of Ultimateness, and Gale Dogra, and you have 2,000 light points. But usually, most opponents will be stunned so hard that they usually can't like do the 2,650 damage it would take to kill you. So then the next turn you just switch to defense mode, and then you just have like this, and anything that kills the anti-special summon lock, this can stop, and anything that would stop this usually prevents. And they can't kaiju this. They can't use interrupt the kaiju summon. They can't do any of those cards. So it's like usually you get this up, you usually win. Unless you're playing like Monarchs and they go like Eidos, Stormforth, although usually you can negate those. Alright. Let me just reorganize these cards a little bit.
That Force of Will mat right there.
Yeah, Force of Will mat, you play it because, you know, to psych your opponents to think you're playing another different deck. So you make them think you're playing Reflect Control. Okay. And so, as an addition to the, the Ritual engine, I decided to play the Star Seraph engine. So I play 3 stick and 3 chair. So what these do is that they give you more of a rank 4 toolbox. Because the biggest problem with this deck is that you can special summon these ritual monsters and these monsters that stun your opponent, but you can't actually like, you're not generating advantage fast enough, and you can't usually deal with what the opponent has. So these cards are good because they're level 4 fairies, so you can like use XYZs and make like rank 4s with them. And on top of that, they just generate a bunch of card advantage, which is really good for like Herald, because you draw all of these cards, and then you draw all the combo pieces to make Herald, and then whatever's left you use to like discard to like negate stuff. And also, if you don't draw the stick and the chair together, you just summon the stick, you get a chair, or you just use the chairs and you discard them for Herald, so you can just negate stuff with it. And of course, when you open stick and chair, you generate so much advantage, it's crazy. And then for the ritual monsters, I play 2 Saphira, Queen of Dragons. Now this one's really good because it comes off very well with Herald, because when she is ritual summoned, or when a light monster is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can either, during the end phase, draw 2 cards and discard 1 card, discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand, or target 1 light monster and add it to your hand. So you can do stuff like, If it's in your graveyard, you can add back Star Seraph Scepter to your hand. You can add back a Manju. You can like dig through your deck and like discard like deck combo pieces like ritual spell cards and all that stuff. And what it really does, and it comes off with the next card, Herald of Perfection, because you can discard any fairy monster from your hand to negate pretty much any monster effect, spell card, or trap card being activated. So, but doing this is destroying your card hand. You're destroying your card economy because you're using all these cards from your hand. So, Saphira, you get back the advantage you lose from Herald. So, if you establish like a board of this, like not only also she has 2,500 attacks, that actually puts in some decent damage. So, if you build up a field like this, you just keep getting back the card advantage. So you can just keep negating your cards. So you don't have to play like crappy cards like Dark Factory of Mass Production, because those are they're too reliant on you having your graveyard set up perfectly and having the perfect curve of cards. But this is just a lot more practical. It helps you keep your card advantage so you can like finish your opponent off. And we play 2 copies of Honest because the damage issue of this deck has difficulty getting over like big monsters. On top of that, like you can dig for it with the Saphira, or if it's in your graveyard, you can add it back to your hand. And then if you honest that turn, Saphira's effect will trigger, and so you add it back. Or you do that draw 2 search, or you discard a card from your opponent's hand. It's really good. And then we're playing Advanced Ritual Art, spoiler alert. And so for that, we play 2 Guankyo Megamis, or however the hell you pronounce it, 1 Dungus Dark Witch, and 1 Mystical Shine Ball. Now,
where's that hollow shine ball?
Yeah, sadly I wasn't able to find one of these. So you use these for Advanced Ritual Art, but the reason why I'm instead of playing like a 3rd Megami, now part of this is for when we get Cyber Angels, because with this spread, you can ritual summon all the Cyber Angels. Like if you want to summon the level 10 one, you send this, this, and this. If you want to summon the level 8 one, you send this and this. And if you want to summon Herald of Perfection, you just send one of these, or Saphira, or just any other Cyber Angels. And if you want to summon Herald of Ultimateness, you send 2 of these, or you can send 3 of these, and you deck them 3 cards. And the biggest reason why we play these 2 guys is that I play 3 copies of Instant Fusion in my build. So, and this comes up a lot actually. So you would do Advanced Ritual Art, and you would summon one of your rituals, and you would send these 2 guys to your graveyard. So you have a level 4 in your graveyard, and then you Instant Fusion back the Witch, and then you can make a rank 4. And then you can use that rank 4 to make like a Giant Hand, an Emerald, a Fairy Cheer Girl, or make it like a Utopia, Castile. You can make like any rank 4, and that generally speaking helps like with like most of the problems that this deck has. So like it creates a stronger plays within the deck, because I noticed if I played the 3rd Megami, like Instant Fusion is dead. And I want the deck to have a higher ceiling, and because the rank 4s help so much with a lot of the deck's issues. So I feel like, well, it sucks when you draw one of these cards, but if you draw one of these cards, you can just discard. If your hand is like still decent, you can just discard them for Saphira or Heroic Perfection to like negate stuff and draw more cards. So yeah, you play these for the Advanced Ritual Art engine, which I'm using, and we play 1 copy of Herald of Ultimateness. Now, when this card first came out, it was actually pretty bad, because like, wow, double the level and you get 200 more attack and defense. But the one thing that this card can do that Herald of Perfection can't do is that he can negate any inherent special summon. So he can negate XYZ summons, or like synchro fusions. Well, not fusion summons. Most fusion summons you can't stop. But you can stop XYZs, you can stop synchros.
Pendulums.
Yeah, pendulums. That's the most important stuff. The fact that you can discard 1 card and you just kill 5 monsters, that's crazy. Especially because you got 3,000 defense. So like, even if they summon like Utopia the Lightning, you can just negate that, and it gets. Most cards cannot usually get around Herald of Ultimateness, and that card's like, it's just too good to not play. And then onto the spells. Play 3 copies of the card that makes rituals good again. Pre-preparation of rites. This card's so powerful that Konami's already started designing around it, because in the set it came out, they came out with another ritual monster, which was like a crazy ritual monster. It was like a Morphage, Psycho, like the Imagination Overlord or something, and they didn't give him a ritual spell because they didn't want you searching this. And then with Chaos Max Dragon, they're like, yeah, we don't want you searching it with this, so we're not going to give him like a ritual spell that has his name on it. But what this card does is that you add 2 cards from your deck to your hand. A ritual spell card, and then a ritual monster whose name is listed in the ritual spell card text. So kind of like with like the Dark Magician stuff, where it's like, if it's in its card text, you can add it to your hand. So this card is just like a straight like +1, and it makes like ritual summoning in this deck so much easier, because you just immediately get all the pieces for the combo. Honestly, in this deck, it's even better than Preparation of Rites. And if you play multiple ritual spells, you can actually add the ritual monster from your graveyard. Although I don't really play enough of the ritual spells to actually do that, but that is something you can do. And this card's amazing. It makes the deck so much better now. Then we play 3 copies of Instant Fusion because you can bring back if you do the Advanced Ritual Art play, you dump a level 4 monster, you bring it back with Norden. And you can bring back Manjus and Star Seraphs, Scepters and Sovereignties to make rank 4 plays. You use the rank 4s in this deck to supplement your ritual monsters to help get over stuff your rituals cannot, or to help maintain card advantage. And I feel like I want to see this card as soon as possible, because worst case scenario, I can use that Gusto Emerald and like cycle back the Norden. I also play Thousand Eyes Restrict, so worst case scenario, you use the Norden, and then the next time you use Instant Fusion, you bring out Restrict. And then we play... What? No, I'm looking for the... Okay, so I play 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art, but for some reason I can't find the third copy. But yeah, so we played 3 copies of this. And now this card's really good because you can Ritual Summon a monster without using up cards in your hand, because you're sending normal monsters from your deck to pay for the Ritual Summon. But the Ritual Summon has to be exact, and you have to play normal monsters. But it's really good because it's deck thinning, and it takes the card economy of Ritual Summoning down from like 3 cards or even 4 cards to just a simple 2-card combo. And you can dump monsters to set up your plays for Archer Christia, Soul Charge, and Norden. So this card's like really good. And you can start with Herald of the Arclight or Manju, and so it's very easy to get a hold of this card. I don't know what the hell happened to the third copy, but you play 3.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. It's right here. Like, god damn it. All right, and so now we got to play the more... Yeah, so the one problem with this deck is that you got to play a lot of dead draws, or like Garnets, as some people like to call them. And so we have to play one of each of the ritual spells for the ritual monsters. So I play Dawn of the Herald for Herald of Perfection. I play... Let's see, where is it? So we play Herald of Ultimateness for Oracle of the Herald, and then we play... Let's see. It's going to show up eventually. There we go. We played the Hymen of Light to summon our Saphira. So the reason why you play these cards is that you need to play these cards so you can search out your ritual monsters with pre-preparation of rites. Now, rarely you're actually going to use these ritual spells to summon the guys. You're mostly just playing it just so this card can search out your ritual monsters. Although I feel like Dawn of Herald is actually a decent ritual spell card, because when you ritual summon with it, you can banish it from your graveyard to add back one of the cards you attributed for the ritual summon. So if you attribute like Herald for another Herald, or you attribute a Megami for a Herald, you can just banish it and add it back, and it's pretty much the same as using Advanced Ritual Art. You don't lose any advantage by doing that. So this one's actually really good. And this one isn't half bad, because it just ritual summons this guy, but it works similarly to Return of the Dragon Lords, the card that's coming up in the Felground Structure deck, where if a ritual monster would be destroyed in general, and even if it's multiple ritual monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead, and they don't die. So this helps like create a bunch of soft blocks with your ritual monsters, and it's actually really good. This one's completely fucking useless. You only do it to get Herald of Ultimateness. Like, the one good thing about this is that they can't warning it or chain Vanity's Emptiness, but that's it. Like, you never actually want to play this card. You just only want to like do it for the pre-prep play. And then we play Soul Charge, because you dump a bunch of monsters with like Advanced Ritual Art, and you Soul Charge them all back, and you can bring back Norden. You can actually bring back like all these ritual monsters except like Ultimateness. So you can just Soul Charge back all your ritual monsters, and then you just win. And then we play one copy of Preparation Rites. You got to play the gold rare so you can rip it off the top every game. It's not as good as pre-prep is in this deck, but it's still really powerful. You still get to search pretty much like all the relevant ritual monsters, and you can add back like the ritual spell. Most of the time you add back Advanced Ritual Art, and that's just a very powerful play.
Where's the 3 belts?
Sadly, we don't play any Necros monsters because we don't play meta here. Sorry, that's just for plebs. Okay, so that's the main deck.
You're running triple Shrit though, right?
Yeah, no, that card's banned. So I'm sorry.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, free Shrit, guys, because, Necros is such a great format. Okay, so that's 40 cards, and now for the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we play 2 Herald of the Arclights because you need it for Gale Dogra, so you can, do your search. I play 1 copy of Norden because he's at 1 for some random reason. And then you play 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict because they unbanned him, and sometimes you draw that second Instant Fusion, you gotta play it. Then you play Abyss Dweller. Honestly, maybe you should play 2 because of BA running around, but yeah, we got 1 here. 1 Digestor Emerald, because you cycle back cards like Norden or your normal monsters, so your ARA and Instant Fusion plays are live again. But also, he can actually just bring back a normal monster from your graveyard. So you can like dump like some normal monsters to your graveyard, and then you just bring it back with this. And I play 1 copy of Fairy Cheergirl because literally all the level 4 monsters in your deck are fairies, so you can like always make this. And this card just lets you draw a card. And that, like in this deck where you're losing advantage very quickly, like all these cards that let you draw cards help you stitch your hand with a bunch of fairy monsters, so you can just like negate everything with Herald. And then for like our Star Seraph targets, we play 1 Evil Swarm Ulubulus. There's actually a really cool play with this card and Saphira, because Saphira's effect, when you ritual summon during the end phase, you can discard a card from your opponent's hand. So if you open the stick in the chair and a way to summon Saphira, you can summon this, you rip a card out of their hand, and then you summon Saphira, and then you rip another card out of their hand, so you just rip 2 cards out of their hand practically for free. And on top of that, you draw a bunch of cards. Like this is really good. Also, just general, like very decent removal, like big body. And when you summon it, you usually draw like a bunch of cards when you do it. Like when you usually just make this with the Star Seraphs. And you play 1 copy of Deltros because your opponent can't respond to the summon of this card unless they have like warning or strike. So when you do the Scepter effect to pop a card, you just pop one of their set cards, and it's pretty much like Night Beam. And so with this card, you can basically like pop 2 cards with the Scepter and his effect. Also, if you play Constellar Knight Diamond, you could just overlay Diamond on top of that, and then you have all the effects of Constellar Knight, Stellar Knight, Constellar Diamond. So you just like against BA, you would just destroy them. And we play 1 copy of Illuminite because I've noticed that a lot of times when I'm going first, which you usually want to go first in this deck, you want to just draw, instead of like taking cards out of your opponent's hand, unless you can do the Saphira play, you just want to give yourself more cards, so when you summon Herald, you just have a bunch of fairies to negate stuff with. And this helps you cycle out like your dead cards for like fresher cards, like instant fusions or more rituals or preps, or just like more fairies, so you can like Herald lock them, or Archer Christia to like lock them down. So this card's really good for cycling out your deck cards and replacing new stuff. So if you're going first, I tend to make this unless I have like Saphira. And we play 1 copy of Giant Hand. I don't really play Rafflesia because the ritual monsters stun your opponent pretty hard anyway. So most of the ring 4s are just like generate advantage or get rid of cards. For some reason, I had Giant Hand, so I just played it. And then we play 1 Utopia. 1 Utopia Prime, because we piss away so many life points that it's actually possible to summon Utopia Prime and get its effect off. And on top of that, like even if we don't use his effect, like we can overlay him and summon Utopia Lightning, and then you'll have 4 XYZ materials attached to it, so you can do Utopia Lightning's effect twice, which can come up sometimes. And then we play 1 Castel. Really, you don't. It's one of the best XYZs ever made. It really needs some explanation. And that's deck profile. This deck, I'm not going to lie, it bricks quite a bit because you're playing all these normal monsters. But, man, this is a lot of fun. I mean, your opponent's probably not going to like you. You're probably not going to be winning locals yet, at least until we get the until we get the Cyber Angels. But if you're picking up all your Cyber Angels stuff now, like you can still play this deck, and it does some cool stuff. So if you're picking up the deck, I highly recommend just test driving it now, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
You want to quickly go over some Cyber Angel bits before this video ends so people can get a heads up?
So for the Cyber Angel stuff, like Ben 10 and I don't know what the other one does, but there's like 3 Cyber Angels, and one of them searches out any fairy monster when you tribute it, so it pretty much just becomes a shred of this deck, because you could just tribute it for Herald of Perfection or Saphira, and it just covers the entire ritual summon, and then you get to search. And you get to search out Manju, or Senju, or Archer Christia, or Honest, and the ritual spell card also helps, like for the Cyber Angels, because you can banish it, and to protect all your light monsters from dying. So you just create all these soft locks where you just like stun your opponent, and they just can't do anything. And it's like super consistent because like we get even, like it's on the level of Necros with the amount of search power the deck has with like Ritual Sanctuary, Benton, the Cyber Petite Angel, and just all the generic like ritual support in general, like preparation of rites and manjus and stuff. Like it's a lot of fun. I have a blast playing with it. So yeah, that's deck profile. Give it a like. If you don't like it, rewatch this whole video and watch it again. I'm sure you'll like it a second time. All right, peace.